So this is exactly how I scaled my agency without sacrificing my freedom. But what exactly do I mean by that? I'm currently scaling my agency without relying on $10 an hour Upwork freelancers, without having to hire closers or setters, and without needing to be glued onto my laptop every single second of the day. And the best part is that it's enabled me to be a business owner. I haven't only created a new job for myself with this business, but I can actually work from where I want. I can travel whenever I want, like right now. I can basically work whenever I want, from where I want, and with who I want. And more importantly, I can spend more time on high impact tasks instead of doing routine manual work over and over and over again. Because I'm gonna assume that you are a lot like me. Your business is your baby, and you really enjoy working on it. But some tasks are just so repetitive. And you might also just need a little more data to make sure you're not flying blind. Because be honest with me, could you tell me right now exactly how many clients you've closed, how much money you've made, how many people you've talked to, and what your closing rate on sales calls is? So in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can scale your agency while working less. Because I've seen too many business owners getting stuck in the day-to-day and they don't realize there's a way to scale without having to hire and without working more hours. And we're living in the age of AI. For the first time in history, it's possible for anyone to scale a business without having to do anything unnecessary. And also the biggest issue is that founders are burning out. Keeping everything running alone is exhausting. I mean, we're doing sales, we're posting content, we're managing fulfillment for clients, we're onboarding, we're offboarding, and you built the business for freedom, but scaling it has turned your business into a 24/7 job. And I know that because I was stuck in that cycle too. But after automating my own agency and applying the same framework for over 20 businesses too, I've managed to develop a unique framework that will get you out of working in the business and back to working on it. So now I'm gonna show you the exact 3 steps that I took to go from a founder who's overworked and constantly in front of his laptop to being a founder who can travel whenever he wants, can take days off without sacrificing revenue, and can focus on only the highest leverage tasks. So scaling your business with automation can help you reduce costs, increase your revenue while working less. And I know it sounds too good to be true, but let me walk you exactly through how we can make that happen for you. So phase 1 of automating your business is the actual audit, is looking at what's happening, because you can't automate what you can't see. So the way I did it is that I just sat down and I had a pen and paper with me the whole time throughout a whole week of work, and I wrote down exactly what I'm doing and where my time is going. That way I knew exactly, okay, I'm spending 2 hours a week sending messages to new clients on LinkedIn. I'm spending 3 hours creating content, and so on and so on. So I had an exact inventory of my time, essentially. So in this first phase, the most important questions you're gonna ask yourself are, what produces revenue? What scales, what drains, and what repeats. And once you have this first phase down, you're gonna have the clarity of knowing where your time goes. And then also it's gonna give us the foundation to find out what can be automated and what should be automated. So I also applied this framework when I was working with my client Jessica, and we found out that she's spending 3 to 4 hours every time she sends out a proposal to a new client. And that was 3 to 4 hours that did not have to be spent on editing a single Google Doc. So what we did was create an AI agent that could read the transcript of a sales call and then create a proposal within 2 minutes. So every time she gets on a sales call, she's saving 3 to 4 hours of her life. And she was losing sleep over this, but now she can sleep in peace knowing that the system is working for her. So that also gets us to the second phase, phase 2, design. It's all about thinking about what we're gonna do with that knowledge we've just gained in phase 1. So once again, we have 4 questions we need to answer. If you know the Eisenhower matrix, you're gonna be quite familiar with these questions, but essentially we're checking if a process or a time-sinking task that you're doing repeatedly, we're checking if that should be eliminated, delegated, automated, or productized. So we're gonna go through all of those in a little bit, but essentially what we're doing here is categorizing everything we do into different segments. And what that means is that there might be things that we're doing that are just not necessary, even though we think they might be, but they're not getting us towards our goals. Those ones are best to be eliminated. There's no point in automating them, to be fair. Second, there are some things that cannot be handled by automations. So automations are great at handling routine tasks that follow a repeatable and predictable process. When it comes to things that change a lot, like strategy or one-off projects, it's not worth to automate them. It's best to delegate those if possible. Also, if you want specific guidance on what you can even automate and what tools are the best to use, you can just book a link in the description. It's absolutely free and we can have a one-on-one chat about this. And finally, the third question, should this be automated? This is the question that we really care about. And essentially, 3 signs that show you a process can be automated well is if it's repeatable, if there's data involved, and if it happens often. So when I came to this step in my own agency, I honestly, to keep it really simple, all I did was think about what I actually like doing and what I don't like doing. So one thing I didn't like doing was going through LinkedIn Sales Navigator and finding leads and then finding out if they're a good fit and going through their profiles and basically just manually filtering through every single person to see if they're a good fit for me. What I did enjoy doing was actually talking to people. So what I did was build an automation that automatically sends out connection requests to people who I actually want to be working with. This whole system basically creates people who have been warmed up, who have accepted my connection request and are ready to be sent messages to. And that's where I step in and take it over and make it personal. And for my client Ivonne, we discovered that she was spending forever assigning her employees to different mini jobs. And this was also taking her hours and hours of time a week. So what I did is build a Telegram bot that the employees can text whenever they want to apply for a job. And it's been saving her so much time, but more importantly, it's been giving her her life back because she doesn't have to be there every single day doing these routine tasks that happen over and over again in the same way. Now the agent behind the Telegram bot is handling all of that for her and booking the employees into jobs so that she can just sit there and make sure that everything's working smoothly. And now finally, we're gonna get to phase 3, which is the actual automation. So this is where we're gonna implement all of the strategy and knowledge we've gained from the first 2 phases and actually create a system that can do the work for you. So essentially what happens in this stage is that you don't need to know how to code. You don't need to understand APIs and webhooks and JSON and all of that, because there are tools that can do that for you. There's N8N, Make, Zapier. Maybe you've heard of these already. These are amazing automation tools. Essentially what they do is connect all of the different softwares you're already using and make them talk to each other. So essentially what you're doing here is building the infrastructure to handle the business for you. And essentially you're building an operational nervous system. So you're probably already using a bunch of tools like Notion, Slack, Google Sheets, but they're not communicating with each other, and it's causing you to constantly switch between tabs, and that loses time and that loses your focus, and your focus is incredibly valuable as a founder. So what you're going to want to do now is install an automation tool or install the workflows that will then connect the apps together and get them talking to each other. And then on top of that, you're going to be able to build AI agents that do the work for you. And that's exactly what we did for my client Pierre, who runs an e-com brand. So he was running that off Google Sheets, Notion, Slack. It's all scattered across tools. And I came in and I actually built a system, first in Notion and then connecting everything together to Notion to build a content machine that is just printing new ad ideas for his products and for his brands, and he can just sit back and relax. It saves his creative strategists 3 to 4 hours of manual work, and this all happens with a single click now. And finally, before I let you go, I have a final 4th secret step, which is rinse and repeat. That's phase 4. Once you've automated the first business, go back to step 1, look at where your time is going now, and then automate the things that are automatable. And that's it. That's how you scale without burning out, without having to hire, and without investing more time in the business. So you've seen it all, but if you want guidance on what you can actually automate in your specific business, just book a call through the link down in the description, and we can talk through all of that together. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.